Hey there, this is Jake Jones and Slappy the Bass, here to give you a little lesson on this color code. So it all started with realizing there are 7 natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and 7 colors in the spectrum of the rainbow. ROYGBIV, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Or, the end, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and pink, depending on what language you prefer. And with taking notice of that, just strapping them onto each other. A, red, B, orange, C, yellow, D, green, E, blue, F, purple, G, pink. You start noticing some relations that they have with A, anarchy! And actually, by coincidence, some of the first punk songs I ever learned were in the key of A. Open A. So that cut on real quick. And the associations make themselves. You'll come up with your own, but there are some like yellow, C, vitamin C, citrus, lemons. What color are lemons? Yellow. And once you start playing in that key, you start hearing how major and beautiful it sounds. You can easily associate it with yellow. It comes with time. You'll find your own associations if you decide to partake. And so finding how to fill in the blanks of the sharps and flats, the 5 sharps and flats that are in between certain notes. Naturally, with using the spectrum of the rainbow here, it seemed necessary to have neutral colors in between so that you can tell the clear difference, to have some contrast between, certain notes and notes that don't look anything like it next to it, so you don't confuse them for each other in a haze or when you're playing fast or anything like that. So naturally, first thing that came to mind was black, white, brown, gray, and kind of an off turquoise, light blue type color. Just something to differentiate and distinguish. And in the order that, over the course of weeks while I was programming this stuff into my own head and trying to figure it out for myself, came to place them sort of generically, but in ways that fit with the sound, like the black, A sharp, B flat, just sounds to me, one of the darker notes, whereas G sharp, A flat, the white in this color code, just sounds brighter, sounds like something in a cathedral or something. I have my own associations with it. And science actually brought the C sharp, D flat to me, because C sharp, the actual frequency that note rings at when in a proper octave is the same frequency that Earth, our planet Earth, supposedly resonates at, the frequency. And so brown, earth, dirt, however you like to see it. So they've made their own associations in their own ways, and they all seem to fit, having used this for, next month will be 3 years, and it still fits. It makes so much sense once you get over the learning curve of remembering what they are. And really that took me personally maybe about a month before I could really understand it, dig in, and make stuff out of it. And before using this color code, I had these riffs, and I could play the riffs easily, but I didn't know what key they were I'd be playing. And someone would say, hey, what key is that in? I want to play with that. Guitarists want to play along or whatever. I'd be like, okay, so this is my E string. We go as oh, that's E. I'm playing an E. Now I can just look down and see blue, and oh, well, how do I find out what's blue? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. A, B, C, D, E. And it just lands on it. They match with each other. And so I just look down and see I'm playing blue. And that's in the key of E. Well, relatively speaking here. And it just, you find these associations. And they work quick. And once you've got them in your mind, they become passive and you don't have to think about them anymore. I've gone to improv groups and playing at a audition for a band I've never played with, people I've never met before. Sat in, they're like, can you play this song? You got chord charts? I'm like, yeah, I could use chord charts. One song they didn't have chord charts for, they're just screaming them out. G, You know what I'm saying? And so with these color codes, I hear G, I know where my G is. They scream C, D, back to G, and you just find them. Even if, even before you get the practice in to know them in your own memory, you can find them as easily as looking down. And there are people who are opposed to, this for all reasons. I've heard all the reasons why someone would never want to paint their neck, or they wouldn't want to associate notes with colors because notes can't be colors, they're sounds. But really, it's more scientific than it is whimsical, even though it may look whimsical as could possibly be, but I've taught, at this point, more than 6 people who have 0 music theory experience and taught them how to find their notes even without the color code, how to play and find the patterns of major and minor scales, and to play them and be able to place them anywhere and know what note they're starting on and where they're ending and what notes are included. And I've even taught a couple things to someone who does have music theory experience. A couple years in high school, it got him to understand his relations and intervals better. So it does have its place. It's not just whimsical or silly, and it is not for everyone. I do understand that, but when you know what notes you're playing without having to think about it, you can play more or less if that's your style. And it's a great way to find where you're at within the spectrum of things happening here. You can tell your intervals. And it just helps you to stay more productive, and even helps with the creative process. It doesn't confine anything. Some people don't want to take on a new way of seeing things because they feel like it will confine their ideas or confine the creativity into a space and limit. But I've had probably by now over 100 times people at the park, got friends over, at a friend's house and more people come over, just freestyling, or even to myself, or I just look around and observe. I'll pick out colors, or I'll tell someone, hey, pick out 4 colors. They'll pick out any 4 colors, and I'll make some kind of rhythm out of it. I'll play the notes and find what they're thinking. They're like, what was the last one? Black, pink, and blue. And I was like, alright, want me to make like a 3-chord type pattern out of it. So I just found my notes. And I came up with this rhythm, just feeling those notes on. And that's just from someone saying some colors that they see on here. So it opens the doorways to a lot of different ways of approaching it. You can see the relations that they share and find if you know where a couple of the A's are. Yeah, I know I got my open A, and I know I got an A up here, but I don't really know where the rest of them are. Well, you can just, from this color code, see there's one here, the higher octave, and you can see there's one down here. And without having explored every single fret of every single string, you can get the knowledge of where they all are. And once you have enough practice, which probably would come in a couple weeks, then you can get on a bass without one, or guitar, or keyboard. This helps your understanding of any of these stringed, or keyboard being the future of stringed instruments. And know your intervals, know your notes, know your chord patterns, and knowing where to place them, how to move them to stay within context. So that's just my spiel of it. I'll have more lessons up, things you can learn specifically from me about this. Majors, minors, things like that, and the color code, and how to take them off the color code and see the pattern without needing the silly colors. And you can look cool with or without them. You have a good night. Keep on playing some bass.